So why do we use French ultramarine or ultramarine blue for a color palette? Why not cobalt blue? Why not phthalo blue? So my thinking is that ultramarine blue is a good staple color to put on any palette, and you usually see it on any palette, but it mixes so well with almost any color. So if I use ultramarine blue, and I'm just gonna get this Daniel Smith palette here, and we'll figure out exactly why ultramarine blue is so universal as far as a color to put on any palette. So if you mix it with yellow, which I always use Hansa yellow, then you're gonna get a beautiful natural green. That's number one. Number two, if you mix it with a nice neutral red, this is quinacridone red, you're gonna get a lovely purple. And if you mix it with this like quinacridone gold, which leans a little bit more towards orange, you're gonna get a lovely indigo color. And if you mix it with burnt umber, you're gonna get a nice dark. It can go indigo too. There's a lovely indigo or Payne's gray. Let's put a little bit more burnt umber in there, and you can get it to a nice inky dark. Maybe a little bit more ultramarine, and there it is, a nice black. It's just a good mixer color. You could use it for skies, especially if you mixed it with just a little bit of green. You can, and get it down with water. That's a nice stormy sky. You could get a little bit more blue. That's kind of the same. A little bit more blue. And I always take pigment off. And there's a lovely sky color. And you can always go with ultramarine blue, and there's a lovely sky color. That's just straight up ultramarine blue with water. So now if you do this same thing, you can mix it with anything. You can mix it with anything, and it will bring out the best of its color. So if you mix it with yellow and you get a green, then you can take ultramarine blue and add to it. And if you keep it up, you'll eventually get an aqua. There, it's a dark foresty green, but I'm going for aqua. There we go. You can just do so much with it. Let's go a little further. There's a beautiful Beautiful aqua. And then if you take that down, you can get a nice, that's beautiful for water. Ultramarine blue is just a versatile color for mixing. So that's why I see most palettes have ultramarine blue on it. Now, just for fun, let's just try to see what cobalt blue does and see if it gives us the same results. Okay, so here is cobalt blue, and you could definitely use cobalt blue on a palette if you wanted to. It's a very neutral blue, and you are going to get similar mixes. It's going to make a lovely green with yellow. Let me put down a swatch of cobalt blue. There's cobalt. It's very neutral. I gotta remind myself not to dip into that. So there's your green with yellow. I'm going to put some right here. I'm going to mix it with a little bit of quinacridone gold. I'm going to get more of a gray green. Kind of a khaki green. Because quinacridone gold has a little bit more orange tone to it. Let me put some more blue in there. That's pretty. Cobalt blue might be better for skies. Let's dip a little bit more of that quinacridone gold because it will kind of neutralize out. Okay, let's get some cobalt and put here. Get a little bit of quinacridone red, and you get a lovely purple. It's not as strong. I don't think cobalt blue is as strong as ultramarine blue. Its tinting strength is lower. There, you can make it a little darker. And the more you add, the darker it'll get. That's a pretty color. It's very neutral, so you're not going to get that really strong color. Its tinting strength is low. It is easy to lift. Now let's see if we can get a good dark with cobalt. That's always my telltale sign, is if a blue or a palette is complete, is if I can get a good dark with it. I'm gonna put plenty of cobalt blue. And get some of this burnt umber. And I can get a very nice dark. So I guess the decision is yours. You know, I think ultramarine has a higher tinting strength, but cobalt blue is a good choice too. I got a good dark, I got a nice purple, I got a nice green. So, you know, cobalt blue or ultramarine blue. Let's look at the ultramarines again. ultramarine leans a little bit more towards red than cobalt. It's got a little bit more violet to it. So it's going to give you, and it's, you know, they're both granulating colors. The choice is yours. You know, I think this ultramarine has a little bit more punch. So that's why most people, I think, uses it for a blue on their palette. But cobalt blue is certainly a beautiful blue. There's cobalt. And I'll mark them. Cobalt. Cobalt blue. And these are both Daniel Smith. And this is ultramarine. This is Michael Harding. And this is Daniel Smith. Actually, this is French ultramarine. It has a little bit less granulation. Nice. I think that ultramarine packs a little bit more punch. So that's why I would recommend ultramarine for a palette. But I could see where you'd have both blues. I'll link them below in the description. So, and I'll probably link Daniel Smith materials, and I'll leave a Jackson's link. So if you like this Michael Harding, you can get it. And cobalt blue. Let's see what we can get with this as far as a mass tone. I really have to go on. It's just a little more neutral. This has a little bit more red in it. Okay, so let's try, and I'm gonna just try to use the same amount of, this is cobalt blue. Let me do it over here. Cobalt blue. And I just loaded my brush up. And let me go with Daniel Smith. Ultramarine blue. Yeah, it just packs a little bit more punch. You're only gonna get that so dark. So I think that that's why the difference. This is more violet and this is more neutral. So, but it is your choice. It's your palette, it's your choice. So if you want cobalt blue, if you like it better, it will mix the same as ultramarine blue. May not be as dark, but it will mix the same. It's perfectly fine for you to have cobalt blue on your palette. You don't have to have ultramarine. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later. Links below.